one of the things we love to kind of, it's like we brag about it, but it's also just kind of naturally known, is that we are clearly better than all of these other countries that are torn apart by conflict, war zones,
conflicts, these random conflicts,
just conflict, war zones. There's so much death. It's scary to walk down the street. We are just naturally better. I mean, it hardly even needs to be said. It's just, you just know it. We are better than all these awful conflict countries. This was in the Washington Post. Gun death rates in some U.S. states are actually, they say comparable, but actually in some examples, they are worse than so-called conflict zones. The rate of firearm deaths in several U.S. states is similar to places around the world that are battling civil unrest or bloody gang wars. The report was published Wednesday by the Commonwealth Fund, an independent research group, found the overall rate of firearm deaths in Mississippi, for example, was twice that of Haiti, which...
Wow, I can't believe the CIA is arming all these people in Mississippi. I mean,
yeah.
They really need to get their grubby hands out of our local affairs here in the U.S.
Like, our newscast, if you watch a newscast about Haiti, it is like, oh my God, it's end of days. Everyone's just getting murdered. You can't walk down the street or you're shot in the head.
Oh, yeah, and they're just having machete fights out in the open.
Yeah, and Mississippi is actually twice as deadly. And that's just one example. Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama all have higher firearm death rates than Mexico, where rival drug cartels are engaged in bloody conflict. Obviously, it depends on the area of Mexico. Plenty of people love certain areas of Mexico. And then other areas, there is a lot of drug cartel conflict and death. Montana's death rate from guns is higher than Colombia, where drug trafficking is ripe. A lot of the drug trafficking in Colombia, we help make sure that happens. Wyoming, Arizona, and Oklahoma all ranked above Brazil. Suburban New Jersey has a higher gun death rate than Nicaragua, Mali, and Djibouti.
Suburban New Jersey. I think that's the first non-red state that we got here.
And this is just counting gun death. This is not counting opioid deaths. But to me, this is just like, it yet again shows that the myth of like America is so blatantly fake on just like all levels. We're told, I feel like if you're like a CNN watcher and you were asked about Nicaragua, you would just go, oh my God, everybody's getting murdered there, right? Whereas Nicaragua is, it was recently found to be the number one country where their citizens feel at peace compared to every other country in the world. Colombia obviously has a lot of issues, but apparently they're not murdering people as much as Oklahoma. It's just, it's kind of crazy, the fake world that we Americans live in terms of...
Those are deaths of conflict, Lee. Over here, these are deaths of freedom. That's just...
that's very true.
That's just...
Either freedom or outdoor barbecues.
Yeah.
One or the other. But another thing, which, of course, the Washington Post won't get to, is they'll never get to the root cause of why is it that there's so much gun death in America. It's not just the fact, like I like to talk about core reality, getting down to core reality. Often there's multiple levels, and the surface reality is there's lots of guns, and that's why we have gun death. Yes, there are lots of guns, and so in countries without guns, you are not going to have as much gun death. That is very true. You can dig down a little deeper. You also wouldn't have a lot of gun death if you didn't have mass inequality. Like, the gun deaths go with horrific inequality. These things go hand in hand. And the U.S. has some of the most gut-wrenching inequality in the world, even compared to many countries in Europe that we kind of consider pretty similar. And you wouldn't have near this level of gun death and gang violence and et cetera without this level of inequality.
Yeah, definitely. And somewhere in there, I would add a layer of just not being able to fight the gun lobby because we don't have a real democracy in here in this country. And
that's right.
The population doesn't get its wishes, which is just regular ass gun reform.
That's very true. There's essentially zero democracy in America, and hopefully some people are waking up to that. The 2014 Princeton study showed that nothing happens in Congress that does not align with corporate America, and corporate America is there's powerful gun corporations that want to sell as many guns as possible, and that 2014 study has only gotten worse. It's not gotten any better. So, yes, there's zero democracy in America. Also, so far this year, there have been 24 mass killings with guns in the United States. Sometimes these numbers are a bit confusing to people because you'll hear that there's a mass shooting a day in America, which is true, but mass shootings are different than mass killings. Mass shootings is obviously someone opening fire on a group of people. Mass killings means that it's got to be 4 people or more died during it. So luckily, most mass shootings don't end in that many people dying. But
so you're saying, Lee, you're saying that if we had a day in the U.S. where we had one mass shooting, that's actually a good day.
Yes, we had only one.
If it wasn't a mass killing, if it was just a mass shooting, that's a good day in America.
Yes. So my solution to this is if we just made the aims, the targeting of each gun slightly off, it'd probably be better. Fewer people would die.
Yeah, instead of taking away people's freedoms, let's just get people better at zigzagging. I mean, we need physical education here. That's the problem.
Zigzag training.
Zigzag training, yeah.
Absolutely important. Globally, the United States ranks in the 93rd percentile for overall firearm mortality, the 92nd percentile, meaning we're almost the top of firearm mortality. We're almost the top of firearm mortality among children and teenagers, and we are 96th percentile for a firearm mortality among women.
Wow. I mean, if that was the SAT score, we'd have a full ride wherever we wanted to be.
It's a pretty solid SAT score, absolutely. Yeah. But anyway, I need to remember this. There's certain articles and certain studies you got to remember when you're in a debate with someone about other countries and why America is not better. And I feel like this is an important one to remember. We're not actually, in many states, we're not actually having fewer of our people murdered on a daily basis.